Illustrator has the ability to create graphic styles. If you've used styles in other programs, maybe Adobe InDesign or Photoshop, even the Microsoft programs, you'll know that a style is like a collection of formatting. You could apply, let's say, fill, stroke, effects, and take all of these formats and apply them to multiple objects and have that formatting identical on all those objects. That makes your work not just faster, but also more consistent. It's also easier to change. If you change the definition of the style, all of the objects that are formatted with that style will change. If you've never used styles before, and maybe you're not really sure what the heck I'm talking about, it'll be clear in a moment. Let's draw some shapes on the page. I'm going to start off, maybe I'll get a rounded corner rectangle, and I'll draw one up here, and maybe I'll get a polygon, and use the spacebar to move it. I think I'll grab a few more sides there. Tap the up arrow. And I think I'll get maybe the star tool. And I'll put a few more points on the star tool. Okay, that's good. And I'll just move this down here. Whatever shapes you have are fine. If you want to scribble around, that's okay too. Take one of your shapes and bring up the swatches panel. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to choose one of the gradients that's in there. And there's this kind of built-in blue and white gradient. What I want is for this to be a radial gradient. And I see that I accidentally clicked just below the color bar, and doing that inserted an additional color stop. So by the way, now you know how to have a gradient with multiple colors. But I don't want that here, so I'll just drag this additional color stop down to remove it. And I'll bring the blue color stop up just a little bit. Okay, that's cool. Sometimes these things like jump around. And let's also give it a stroke just for the heck of it. So I'll click the stroke box over there. I'll go back into the swatches panel. And let's say this one, I'm going to choose a regular solid color, but I'll make it thicker so we can see it. Okay, so let's say I want to be able to apply this formatting to some of these other objects. To do that, I create a style. So down here towards the bottom of the panels, the third one from the bottom is graphic styles. And you see there are some built-in styles. For now, I want to take this and make it a style. So I'm simply going to take this object. I'm going to drag it now. It looks right now like I'm dragging it across the page, but I'm going to drag this into the panel, and boom, it gets put in there. I'm going to undo that for a second because I do want to show you one other way. I'll leave this selected, and down here on the bottom of the panel, I'll click this little new graphic style button, and again, it makes a style out of that shape. We'll just deselect, and now I could choose either of these and click the style, and boom, that formatting is immediately applied. Let's say I want to change the style itself. So if I change the style, they will all change. Choose any of the objects. It doesn't really matter which one. I want to make sure that the fill is in front. Now this color pops up automatically, but I don't care. I'm going to go back to the gradient panel. I'll double click this slider. I'll apply a different color, so that's pretty obvious that that's changed. Now let's change the stroke. I'll click the stroke box, go back into the swatches panel, and maybe I'll make that, let's say, red. So this is very obviously different from that. Oh, one other thing. Let's select it and let's click the width profile, and I'll choose maybe something like that and make it even a little thicker. So now we have something a little bit more dramatic. Okay, now when you have that selected, bring up the styles panel. Now this is still formatted with that style, but you've done all these manual changes. So what you want to do is you want to take this shape that you've changed and update the style. And when you update the style, these two shapes will change. All you have to do is take the object, hold down the Option key on the Mac or the Alt key in Windows, and drag on top of the style that it's formatted with. Always let go of the mouse button first, and boom, now these other shapes have updated because the style is updated. So that's great, but you might be thinking, all right, this is all in the same document. Can I just have selected all these objects and format them all at once? Yes, you can, but sometimes maybe one object is kind of hidden or behind another object. But where the real power is let's say you want to apply these styles to objects on a completely different document. Leave this document where it is, leave it open, don't close it. Let's just create another brand new one. So I'll press Command N on the Mac or Control N in Windows, and I'll choose OK, and maybe draw another shape. This time maybe I'll get the pencil tool, and I'll draw some kind of squiggle here. But when I'm looking at my graphic styles panel, I don't see that style that I just created. So what I'm going to do is this. You have both of them open. Go back to the original one. And in the graphic styles panel in the upper right corner, click the drop-down arrow. And down over here on the bottom, you want to choose Save Graphic Style Library. And give it a name. I'll call this maybe Bob's Styles. Now, where this is saved is a little different from Mac and Windows, but it's being saved pretty far down. And if you click the little drop down, again, it looks a little different in Windows. You see it's about 5 or so levels deep. And you can leave it in this folder if you want. And the benefit of leaving it in this folder is Illustrator is always going to find it. But maybe if you want to take these styles and, let's say, email them to someone, then you could put them in someplace that's a little bit more accessible, like in your Documents folder. I'm going to leave it right where it is. And I'll click Save. And keep in mind, when you save that, you're not just saving the one custom style you created. You're saving all of the styles that's in the panel. All right, so let's go back to this other one that we drew. Make sure the object is selected. I'm going to get the Selection tool. And you don't see it here right now, but if you click down over here on the little Graphic Styles Libraries menu, and you have all these different styles there, but click down over here where it says User Defined, you have your styles, and then it pops up, and you have it there, and you can click it, boom, and now any object on this document can be formatted with that custom style you created. And it's now in the main styles library, and you don't even need this anymore. You can close it. Now, I mentioned that there are some built-in styles. I'll just select this object. You can use any of the styles that are already in there, and if you click the little library button, you have all kinds of neat-looking things. For example, I'll choose neon effects, and that's very popular. A lot of people like to apply neon effects to strokes. Here are textures, and I'll apply one at random, and notice what happens. Even though the stroke icon was in front of the fill icon in the toolbox, the style still got applied the way it was created. It got applied to the fill. One other little thing is that there is no dynamic link between the styles in this document and the styles in our original document. If you change the styles here, they will not be updated in the other one, and vice versa. If you want that to happen, then you simply have to go and resave your styles again.